Hello, gentlemen and ladies. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're located. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
So we will progress. This should be a quick session, but it seems so many of us have lots of questions, and we'll take it slowly, a step at a time. So basically, what do we want to do? We want to achieve one M mainly. That M is to together, let's apply for SI scholarship through the portal. Let's navigate through the portal and see how the portal looks like. Since the application started, I have not gone through the portal. I have no idea how the portal is, how the portal looks. So I decided not to go there because I want to experience what a first timer might experience. And I want us to navigate together and let's see how that experience looks like. So this is the first part of this session, to navigate through the site. And then the second part is to discuss the motivation letter, because it came to my notice that the question for the motivation letter is different from previous years. I don't know what exactly the question is, but we'll go through it together. Still, I'm a first timer to this portal as of this year. So let's see how it goes. And lastly, we'll now do a question and answer session. For those of us that will also want private session, we can also fix that. So we'll start right away. So I believe you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can see your screen.
So this is my Chrome page. And now I want to go into SI website. So let me go through Google search. So this is SI website, and we want to apply right now. I know it's somewhere down. Okay, apply. Okay, this is how to apply. Okay, yes. So this is the application journey. This is where the journey starts. The first, you choose your level, masters. You choose your country of citizenship. My country of citizenship is Nigeria. I find Nigeria here. Then I submit. So they say I meet the basic requirement. That if your country is not eligible, I don't think this page will come out. But because my country, Nigeria, is eligible, I now click to continue to the full form. So it's asking me to confirm my citizenship. My screen is showing United States because that's where I am making this session from. I'm currently in the United States, and that's why you see this. So this will likely be the country where you are based on your IP address. So I will say no, because that's not my citizenship. Then I have to put my citizenship. Nigeria. So it's now asking me to register, sign in. So I register. Oh, it's showing my name from previous applications. I will simply say I'm a new applicant because I believe that so many people are new applicants. Then I will put on my email address. So remember, this is a pseudo creation. This is not a real application that I'm doing. I'm not going to submit this application. So I'm using an alternative email address. Say we have sent you a one-time link to your email address. Please go to your email box, find the email and click to continue registration. Okay, then I have to go to my email. I have already opened my email here. So click to register. Yeah, I'm here. So my full name, password, let's create a password. Let's register. So welcome to my application for SI. Asking for my phone number is optional. So if you like, you put a number. If you don't like, you don't have to put a number. Citizenship, I have a reference code. Yes, it gave me a reference code. What was the code? Wait, is this
No, you don't have a reference code. There's an instruction that you shouldn't put this code there.
You see? Thank you very much. Here you can insert a reference code that you may have received. If you do not have a reference code, I just leave it empty. So consent. If you want to receive it, this shouldn't be compulsory. You continue. Okay, that's even a preliminary. So this is the main application now. So it's asking you to welcome, blah, blah, blah. Step 1, create an account login. Step 2, add eligible master's program to your application. So I think to start, you go to here to find program, or you can click, you go here, or you can browse institution, find program. But I guess you know all these parts. I have a message in my inbox. Okay, find program. So you know the program you already applied for. So I'll just say, because I'm a communication person, I'll just search for communication and I'll pick any program under communication. So I'll pick University of Gothenburg, that's Gothenburg. Apply. So right now I have activated an application. Yeah, I confirm all this. Now there is a submit page here. I'm not sure if this submit page is the final submission or it is just to submit this page. But since I wouldn't want to take any chance, I probably I'll be using next page. Next page. So I can add my 4 choices. I've added one. I can add for the sake of this application, I'll just add this quickly so that I wouldn't need to dwell on that. So these are all preliminaries. You already know what to add here, the focuses you chose in your application. So I have my focuses down there. according to the priority. 1, my first choice, my second choice, third choice, and last choice. So that's all for this priority page. The next page is application details and verification. So your personal application number in university admissions. So for the sake of this application, I'll just copy the example and I'll paste it there. So what subject area does your first priority master's program belong to? You know the answer to this. My first choice, I think I chose communication. So I could say media and journalism, or I could say marketing and PR. So I'll just choose media journalism. What subject area is your second choice? You do the same thing. I know I choose accounting or something like that. I choose this. Third one, I choose accounting. Fourth one, I choose accounting, so I can choose administration auditing. Applicants to Stockholm School of Economics or Konstfack might have applied for a 5th master's program. If you have a 5th master, so you know the answer to this. If you have, you choose. Konstfack is a school of design. Let's assume that I chose Konstfack, so I put design and craft. Save as draft. I think this, if you want to go out, you can save as draft. The thing you've done is saved so far, but I don't think you should submit. Never submit. Submission should be the final thing. So let's go back and see if it has saved. Yes, this is saved. This is saved. This is saved. Even if you log out now, all we've done is saved because we saved as draft. Even if you log out, you want to continue tomorrow or next time or a few hours later, it's saved once you do save as draft. So the next one, application information. So my name, date of birth, I could add date of birth. So what should I add? I could put 2000 January 1st. For the sake of this application, could put I'm female, Nigerian. If you have a dual citizenship, you can add, you click this, but I don't have, you don't have, you leave it. You have, you click on this. Pronoun, Sweden is an equal society. Even if you identify as they, them, you can write they, them. If you identify as he, him, you can write he, him, or whatever you identify as. City of residence. So because I'm based in Nigeria, I'm from Nigeria, I'm applying from Nigeria, to say the least, I'll just put that I'm based in Aba, Nigeria. Country, I then choose Nigeria. Then I go to the next page. So my email address, telephone number, I could just put 234, the country code of Nigeria, 07000. I hope that's okay. Then for the sake of this application, you go to the next page. So once you go to the next page, the application is saved automatically. But if you want to log out, you also just simply click save as draft to be sure that everything is saved. Now, academic background. Country, where is your university located? So this is talking about your bachelor's. Name the university. My bachelor's, I did my bachelor's in Nnamdi Azikiwe University in Nigeria. Highest level of education completed. So if you have already done a master's, you can add it. Instead, you put your master's detail. If you've already done a master's, you put your master's detail. So the highest education completed. But for the sake of this application, I would say undergraduate. But if you already have a master's and Sweden is your second master's, please gladly put you've done a master's before. But if this is your first master's you're applying for, then your highest should be undergraduate, bachelor's. So in what field do you have or will obtain a bachelor's degree? So where have you obtained a bachelor's degree? We say marketing and PR. You know the answer to your own case. How many master's degree have you obtained? Please read these instructions. I'm actually scanning through them. And because I did this last year and 2 years ago and 3 years ago, I automatically kind of know what this is about. But please, if this is your first time, don't just do as fast as I'm doing. Please read the instructions. Read the instructions closely. Understand the instructions. I've done this for 3 years now, so that's why I'm doing it pretty fast, even though this is my first time logging in this year. So how many master's degree do you have? You say none. Let's see what happens if you say one. So nothing happens. So I said none. Please make sure to include all master's degree obtained prior to start of your master studies in Sweden. So year of graduation, you have to put that of bachelor's. You can put your bachelor's, you graduated your bachelor's 2022 or whenever, 2023, whenever you graduated from your bachelor's, you put it there. Have you previously studied or pursued a research in a country other than Sweden with any form of scholarship? So have you done a master's degree before, or have you done a PhD before? Bachelor's is not a research, but studies, bachelor's is among, of course. So if you have in any form of scholarship, yeah, for a degree or more, for more than one semester, if there is none, you simply say no. Have you previously studied or pursued research in Sweden or in any form? So you say no or you say yes, whatever the answer is. This will not affect your application. You're already eligible. You're already eligible for applying. As far as your course is eligible, your country is eligible, and all those preliminaries. So you're eligible. What you answer here won't impact so much, or it won't impact negatively. Yes, it won't impact negatively on your application. So you simply go to the next page. So once you go to the next page, like I said, the application automatically saves. So work experience. Now, this is where the real application starts. Work experience. There's already a template released for this work experience. Remember, don't forget that. And in that template, all these questions were also asked. So all the questions you are seeing right now were asked in the template. So all you need to do is to open up your templates, look at what you answered in your templates, starting with your CV. Look at your CV, check out what you answered in your CV, and just repeat the same thing. Let not what you put in your CV be different from what you answer here. Let them be exactly the same. So your CV, your first organization that you put there, if it's private sector, public sector, or civil society, you click on it. What type of work? Look at your CV again. Full-time employment, part-time, wherever, you put it up there. There are many options. How many hours have you worked? Did you work for this organization prior to February 10, 2023? So you choose, you know what you put there. You know, you could have worked maybe 3,000 hours. You know, remember, this is where you look at your proof of work that you filled. If your proof of work is coming from one organization, I think that should be this organization here. Then you fill it up. If it's coming from more than one organization, of course, if it's less than 3,000, it's fine. It could also be you only worked in this organization 200 hours. It could also be you only worked 1,000 hours. Please choose, or please, what field did you work at this organization? So these are things that are pretty clear. I don't think anyone will have any issue understanding this. This is a marketing firm. Do you have a leadership position in this organization? So it's a yes or no. You simply know what to answer here. Do you hold any responsibility flowing within any of these responsibilities? Okay. Did you hold any of these positions in the organization? Supervisor, deciding departmental budgets, teaching students, managing projects, chairing the company or department. So maybe you manage some project or something, or you supervise other people, or you are the manager, you know, whatever the case is, you just fix it up. How many hours did you hold in your leadership position? So remember also you have a leadership template. It mustn't be exactly the same number of hours, but if your leadership template says that you got such number of hours from this same company we're talking about, then of course it has to be the same. But if it's from diverse places, from different places, then you put the exact number of hours. So let's say 2,000 hours in leadership. Then you're done with this, you move to the next page. The next page, work experience, second work experience. Remember, in your CV, you have options of 3 work experiences maximum. If you only put 1 work experience, then you don't need to fill the second one. It's not necessary. If in your CV, it's only 1 work experience that you have, then you don't need to fill this second one. So if you also notice, no question in this second one is compulsory. Any question that is compulsory, it will come with this red asterisk. So no question is compulsory here. So if your 1 experience is enough, is more than 3,000, your 1 work experience and leadership, then you don't need to do this. You go to the next page. Same thing here. This is the third one. If you already have it all settled in the first, then you go to the next page. So any question that is compulsory to have this asterisk. So this is about activities and involvement. So this is about your outside work involvement. It's also part of it. Just look at your CV, duplicate your CV. That's what these guys are asking you for. Duplicate your CV here. What are you currently doing? You're employed. Yeah, does your current employer occupation offer you the opportunity to take a leave of absence for your intended study in Sweden? So here should be yes. There should be no option for a no. So because it's either these 2 answers, or this is either these 3 answers. Okay. Well, from the options I'm seeing, you can actually go with any answer. Yes. I'm not employed at the moment. I will take a paid leave. I will take an unpaid leave. The employer will give me a job when I come back. I will resign. But whichever you choose, remember the story you are telling in your reference letter, or the story you are telling in your motivation, or the story you're telling anywhere. So if you're telling a different story, you should know that they have to align. Let's take, for example, in your reference from your work experience 1, your referee said, wow, he's or she's a wonderful staff, she's this, she's that, and we have already made arrangement for an unpaid leave. Maybe there's such a statement or sentence in your reference. So that should align with this. Or you should, whatever, if there is any of such sentence, but in many cases, such sentences does not come into your application. Or in case there is, so you have to still maintain your story. So we choose, yeah, I'm on paid leave or I'm on paid leave. Anyone you choose is fine. Are you currently engaged in a network, volunteer, or any civil society? Remember your CV, remember your documents, your templates. So that depends on what you answer. Have you previously been engaged in a network, volunteer work, or any civil? So you also, depending on your CV, so this is kind of a repetition of your templates. So they are just basically making you repeat your template, kind of to know if you know what you actually wrote down in your templates, if you did it yourself, if you're sure, because if you're sure, your answers will not change overnight. So you choose what suits your CV, your content. How many hours? You also put up the how many hours that is your case. Does your employment or engagement in any network relate to any of the? Of course, it has to. There's no option for no. There's no option for you're not sure. You're sure. You're very sure. Which is SDG is it? Of course, you know the SDGs is more than 1. You choose them. You can choose 3. So you cannot choose more than 3. Read the instructions, please. Don't go and choose 4, 5, 6, 7. Please always read instructions. Even though I'm very fast, I'm glancing through this, I'm also reading instructions. So even if I miss something, of course, you can always call my attention to it. So you go to the next page. Connection to Sweden. Please, you have to be very careful about this part, because this part also has something to do with your eligibility. In the eligibility rule, there are some things that have to do with connection to Sweden. What's your previous connection to Sweden? So do you have any previous connection to Sweden? You can say yes, it doesn't matter. If yes, within what setting? If you said no, you said not applicable. If you said yes, you could say story, anything, could be family, could be, so this won't affect, could be work related, could be family. Prior to August 2022, have you resided in Sweden for cumulative 2 years or more? If you say yes, I think it might affect your eligibility. I'm not so sure. I need to go back to the eligibility criteria. But I know in the past years, if you have lived in Sweden for more than 2 years, you're not qualified for SI scholarship. So if your answer is yes, you have to go check out your eligibility, but your answer have to be technically no. Note that short visits to other countries during your residence must also be counted as time residing in Sweden. Okay. How did you come across information about SI? So this doesn't matter, anything you choose, anything that is your case, friends and network, SI alumni, the website, wherever you got it from, I mean, it's fine. If you write other, it's also fine. They're not even asking you where is this other place. So you go to the next. Now the next is motivation. And the question is, choose one of the UN Sustainable Development Goals and describe how your professional position, engagement in the network and civil society relates to the goal. Interesting. Please, who has the question for previous years? Who can tell me the question for the previous year? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, who knows the question for last year?
Let me check.
It seems no one knows the question for last year. Okay. Okay.
Normally, I think they normally ask.
Okay, it's fine. Last year they asked something like, when you return to your country, what are you gonna do?
Yes.
So I'm surprised that nobody can easily tell me that. Well, that's what they asked last year. But do you know the beautiful thing right now? The beautiful thing is that some 3 or 4 years ago, I think 4 years ago, SI motivation 3 or 4 years ago was 2 questions. And one of the question is this. And the other question is the one of last year. So for the past 3 years, SI stopped asking 2 questions. They asked 1 question, and they asked the question for last year. They asked it for the last 3 years. So this year they changed it to this question. So that technically means that this question might be the same question for the next 3 years. Interesting. So this question is not a new question for SI. If you have been following SI for so long, like I have followed SI for for many years now. And this question is not a new question, but it's a new question compared to the last 2-3 years. But it's not a new question to SI. So choose one of the UN Sustainable Development Goals and describe how your professional position, engagement in a network or civil society relates to this goal. Now, the very first part, okay, let's look at the instruction. They say, please write at least 1 character, but not more than 1,000 characters. So 1,000 characters, you can say is equal to 150 words. You can also say is equal to 3 to 5 sentences, depending how long your sentences are. So 3 to 5 sentences, 150 words, 1,000 characters. So it's between that. And if you are looking at a page, this a page divided into 3. So I'll divide it into 2. No, into 2 is too much. Divided into 3. So there is like 1/3 of a page, an A4 page. So how do we attack this question? Now, I will have to speak from experience. Choose one of the UN Sustainable Development Goal and describe how your professional position, engagement in a civil network, a civil society or network relates to that goal. By just looking at this, the first thing you need to understand is that SI, as a matter of eligibility, even though they did not mention, oh, you have to be eligible for this or that, but SI in this question is telling you that you must have had a professional position, or you must have engaged in a network, or you must have been part of an NGO or a civil society. And then you must have a goal that you want to achieve with SI. So let me be writing them down. 1, you must have a professional position, or, well, I know that everybody has here. For you to be part of this, you definitely have. This is option 1 to understand. So first, if you understand the question, to answer it becomes very, very simple. So that's 1. Second part is that you must have a goal you wish to achieve with SI scholarship. The third part, your goal must be relatable to SDGs. Then number 4 thing to observe from this same 1 question is your goal, your SDG, your professional or network or civil society experiences or hopes / aspiration must be in line with your application. Now, I believe you will understand this. This is what this motivation is asking you for. Now, this is very difficult because you only need to do this in 1,000 characters and 150 words. So it makes it very, if someone asks you to write about this in 2 pages, in 1,000 words, as an essay, a long essay, it's pretty simple. But if someone asks you to write about all these 4 things in 4 sentences, 5 sentences, it becomes very, very difficult. It means that every word, every language you use is very, very important. Now, the motivation letter just needs the answer to this 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all you're asked in this motivation letter. Answer the question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4. So that's what this motivation letter is asking you for. So to give us an example, question 1, you have experience working for Red Cross. Remember, from what I've taught you in all my one-on-one sessions all this while, you understand the power and the need for statistical data. So let's say you have experience of 2 years with Red Cross. It can be anyone. It can be the company you work for. It can be Google. It can be any company you work for. So I'm just using any okay, I can actually use my Red Cross. I don't know why Red Cross came to my mind, but that's fine. So actually, I worked for the Sister of Red Cross. So let me use it. I worked for medicine. Okay, let me use the Swedish name. I work for Läkare Utan Gränser. Okay. The English name is Doctors Without Borders. So I used to work for this organization. It's an NGO. It's like the sister to Red Cross. So let's say number one, you must have professional position or engagement in a network, or so you have 2 years experience working for Doctors Without Borders. That's the answer to question one. Number two, you must have a goal you wish to achieve with SI scholarship. So what goal do you have? What goal do you have? Now, remember this goal must be in line with your SDG goal. So this is 2 goals and 1 goal. The first goal is talking about your goal as, with SI scholarship, which is in your brain. But the question itself is referring to the goal of SDGs. So 2 and 3 is highly connected. Don't separate 2 and 3. The question clearly refers to number 3, this number 3. Because it says, choose one of the SDGs, describe, and then relate it to the goal. So, but 2 and 3, because you want to be the best, that's why there is 2. So you must have a goal you wish to achieve with SI scholarship. So let's say the goal is that you want to eradicate malaria in Nigeria. I'm from Nigeria, and we have malaria there disturbing us. So we want to eradicate malaria. This is a very long goal. So this goal is not a goal. It's like it's a dream. It's like a daydream. So to make it a goal, we can say educate 40,000 young people in Aba, Nigeria, on how to prevent malaria within the next 2 years. Within my next 2 years after SI scholarship. So you see the way I answered this question. If you say eradicate malaria in Nigeria, it is just daydreaming. But if you say you want to educate 4,000 young people in Aba, Nigeria, on how to prevent malaria within your next 2 years of, after SI scholarship, it becomes a goal. So the number 3, your goal must be relatable to SDGs. So that comes the first question, choose one of the SDGs. So what goal? So this SDG relates to, this goal relates to SDG, good health and well-being. This goal, what? Can someone remind me?
Goal 3.
Goal 3, yes.
Yes.
So this is goal 3. So I have goal 3 as my team, my major team. You can actually have more than 1 goal, but this question says choose 1 goal. My medical goal might be also under education, because I'm interested in education. It can also be under poverty. It can also be under, but you have to choose one that suits most. So to me, the one that suits most for this particular case is good health and well-being. Then the 4th one, your goal, your SDGs, the 4th one is not connecting all these things all together. Now, what was your work experience? Doctors Without Borders. Oh, what wonderful. What is your goal? Eradicating malaria. Wonderful. What is your SDGs? Good health and well-being. Great. Now, a question now comes. What is the master's program you want to do? And you say your master's program is computer engineering. Oh, that's great. But there is a job to do. You must connect computer engineering to number 1 to 3. And there are many ways it can be done. You can actually connect computer engineering number 1 to 3. You can talk about AI and how AI can support health. You can talk about development of some stuff. You can talk about educating people, giving tech education or digital education to young people in how to prevent malaria. So computer engineering can actually, or computer science, can actually some way be connected to this. But that requires you to use some good language, get good explanations to give. But if you, by common sense, the master's program or the graduate program that suits this so well could be something like public health. Or my master's program is nursing. Or my master's program is infection disease control. You know, those kind of things. So that's a very clearer master's program that connects to this. So, but if your master's program is something else, I would advise you to find a motivation that aligns with your master's program, the master's program you choose, the master's program you want to do with SI. Importantly, the bachelor's you also did. And most importantly, your professional experience, because that's what they actually asked here. Describe how your professional, they didn't ask about your master's program. They didn't ask about your bachelor's program. They asked about your experience. But if someone is reviewing this motivation letter, they will connect everything. They will not only connect your experience, they will connect your experience, they will connect your graduate program, they will connect your bachelor's program. If your bachelor's program is different from your this and that, you can also tell that story. If you look at my previous recordings, I also explain how you can tell such story. If you have a different bachelor's and a different master's and different experience, there's always a place to connect one story to tell. So that's what here is expecting you to do. So because this is a bit specific, I want to know if there's any question on this, on motivation letter. If there's any question on motivation letter, I think you can ask, or maybe let me go through the whole platform, then we can come back to motivation letter. So we'll progress to the next page. So the next page is uploading documents, attaching documents, attaching documents. So this is a checklist of documents you must attach. You must attach an ID, so a passport or national ID. You must attach your CV. You must attach the templates. You see where the templates are requested now. If you also look at this, you find out that proof of work and leadership experience is one document. Reference letter is also one document. So that means your two reference letters, you have to combine them into one. Your proof of work and leadership experience, you have to combine them into one. Then this is your CV, then this is your passport. So this is a checklist. You now come here, you start uploading. No document has been uploaded because document that upload will appear here. To upload, so to upload your documents, let's see how you get that done. So this says about documents from, oh, okay. This is asking you some questions. Where did you receive your reference letter? Please take a look at your templates and repeat whatever you put up there. Whatever you added there, you choose it, you know. From where did you receive the other letter? Civil society. Remember, the first letter must come from employment. So the first letter must be employment. This must be the answer. If your first letter is voluntary work, you are disqualified. You do not have, you are disqualified. So it has to be this. The first letter must come from your work experience. Remember, the second letter can now come from any of these places. But it cannot be this. It cannot be, I do not have any letter of reference. Do your letters of reference and proof of work relationship have required stamp? It should be yes. If it's no, you are disqualified. You can see the requirements in instructions in the templates and blah, blah, blah. So to upload your documents, so how do you do that? Let's see what they have in tax. So see, you go to tax over here, then you click what you want to upload. So it's when I clicked on passport, so I have attached my passport, but I say, okay, it requires you to upload the document first. You click, you find your passport or any documents. Let me find something. What can I upload here? I don't know what these things are, but I'll just upload this that says library. So you can delete, download, zoom in, rotate left and right. I can add a comment, but it's not necessary because they might not even read it, but they can also read it. But I wonder what comment you want to add. So I have attached. Status change was saved. You see? So you can close it off. It marks good. This is resolved. So same thing will happen to all of them. But I want to delete this because I don't even know what is in there. So we go back to your application. So this is your application and it's telling you you have 3 unresolved tasks to complete. So if you complete all these tasks, you can now submit your application. When you're sure you've completed everything, your checklist is good. Your checklist is good. So that's basically then you submit. When you submit, your application gets recorded. And SI Scholarship see you in Sweden. So that's basically it. Now we'll go back to questions, starting with motivation letter. So if you have any question, let's start with motivation letter. We progress from there to any other question that is anywhere.
Okay, so I have a question. Genius, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay, so still on the motivation letter, is it possible to come up with a sample, right? Because I get the breakdown that you just did. But can we come up with a fictional sample, please, if that's possible?
Have you written your own motivation letter?
No, I've not personally written mine.
Is there anybody who has written their motivation letter? Then we can use what they wrote. I mean, professional written. We can use what you wrote. Somebody sent me something on WhatsApp. Let me check out the person. If you permit,
I actually did one, but it was
and
the
you want to
previous
share.
question.
If you have done one and you want to share what you've done, we can recreate your motivation letter right now as a sample.
I have one, but it's based on the previous question, not this one. This is.
I'm asking for those who have created motivation letter based on the new question. Is there anybody who has done that? If there is nobody,
I think I have one. I think I have done something like that.
If you have done something like that and it's based on the current question and is good enough, please send it to me, and then we can use yours and recreate yours, following all the required measures that SI will use in judging motivation letter. Because for me to go get a one, I have to go back to the templates of 4 or 5 years ago. So if you want to share what you've done, we can use you for sample. But if there's none and you don't want to share, it's fine. I will work on a sample and I will still share on WhatsApp to everybody that needs it.
Okay.
Please, can I ask a question? Okay.
Yeah, of course you can.
No, in filling the application, I saw an instruction. It's not a motivation. I'm sorry. I just Okay, filling the application, I saw they said we should write our name the way it's on our
Sorry to interrupt
passport.
you. I want us to take this at a time. I want to know if all the questions concerning motivation is over. The only thing you are asking is a sample. If that's the only question, then I know that we're done with motivation letter.
I have a question, please.
Yes, let's finish up motivation letter.
Okay. These 1,000 characters, you see, they didn't specify if spaces are added.
Spaces are added, yes. There's no space is one character, yes.
Okay.
So you have less than you actually think. You have about 900 and something.
Okay, this is what.
Yeah, this is just like 3 sentences to 5 sentences, but it's more difficult because you have to factor in all these things. So, but anybody has any other question on motivation letter? If there's no other question, then we go over to Q.
Hello, good evening.
I just sent you one
Hello,
on your WhatsApp. Maybe you can use that.
Oh, that's cool. Let me see if I can find it.
Hello, Genius. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, can you hear me? It's Mary. Mary.
Yes, I
Please.
can.
Okay. On the motivation letter, from what you said initially, when your goal, your professional experience, and all your engagement in network organizations should be linked together. In a situation whereby they are different, and you are trying to look for a way to just link them together. I don't know if you remember, I've spoken to you about it. I have 2 network organizations I've worked with. One based on school, this charity work, and the other in a church as the youth director. And in my professional work, I sell electronic things like inverter, renewable energy, inverter, solar, and the rest. And I'm going for my master's in data analytics. So I've been thinking about how would I answer this question. So what you said about linking them together, so I don't know. The question, should we just stick with the professional aspect or stick with the network organization? Or I don't even know how to go about it. I don't.
The first one to stick with is the professional, because that's the question they asked. That's first. The first thing to think of in this particular motivation letter is your professional experience or your civil society. Choose one story. When you try to choose 3 stories, it becomes tough. First of all, choose one story from professional experience. Then the second thing to do is, this one story you have chosen, you have already have a story. This story you have chosen, how on earth can it be connected to my master's program? How on earth can it be connected to other things I've done? But you already have your one story as a ground base. So, I see many hands, so I think I'll be taking from the hands. I have first hand Johnson, Annie T.A. Johnson. I hope I got that right.
Sorry, I already asked my question. Let me lower my hand. Sorry.
Okay, and I have Dennis.
Okay, Genius, good day. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for all you do. I have 2 questions, actually. One of the questions I have earlier sent to your WhatsApp, one that's got to do with the proof of work and leadership experience that requires signing using a digital signature. Because one of my, in fact, I have 3 of the networks I have worked with, the international NGOs, and international NGOs do not use Tableau. Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, fine. So one of my very strong reference there, okay, is, use the digital signature. So I really wanted to be sure whether it was done the way it should be, so that I shouldn't just keep quiet and not know it's not done correctly. Then the second question has to do with the initial aspect of this application that talks about, writing your name, okay, the way it appears in the international passport. So I don't know where to start with surname, because that's how it appears in the international passport. Surname, then I think other names. So I needed to be sure and clear in these two aspects. Thank you.
Okay, yes. The first part of digital signature, there are rules. SI has rules. So digital signature, there is no particular pattern. There are many ways. There's a digital signature that is certified by Adobe. There are ones certified by specific online platforms. There are many different online platforms. So SI has what they stated about digital signature. So there is no particular specific it should be or it should not be. But to be on the safest side, I think you might want to send me what you did, and I would want to compare what you did.
Sorry, let me just explain what was done. I have no problem with which of the digital signature they utilize. Now, in the form, okay, you know, there's a section that says name, that says signature, then date, then place and country. Okay.
Yeah.
Then the second one talks about stamp. So normally, like the other ones that didn't require digital signature, the referee, okay, will simply will print it out. The referee signs, okay, then writes, I think the date, then the city and country for the first section. Then the second section that requires stamp, the referee simply stamps. So in the case of using digital signature now, what I'm not sure is it under the section for stamp that the digital signature should go to, or is it that section that requires the signature, the city and the country, and also the date? Is it there that the digital signature should rest? That is where I'm not clear. Because what my referee did, okay, that very section that requires signature, then the date. So the date was typed, okay. Then the digital signature was was placed there. Then also the country and the city was typed there. So I don't know if that is correct. So that under stamp is blank. There is nothing on that stamp since they don't use stamp. Then there is an attached document that shows that, usually this signature has an attached one page that shows that it was created, it was signed by the referee. So they attach that to the document. So I don't know whether that's how it should be or. Thank you.
Well, so that I wouldn't give you a wrong information, I think I will need to see your document, and I think I will also need to revisit SI rules. And lastly, we have to talk to SI themselves, because I know digital signature comes with an authentication page that makes an extra page, and SI has rules on pages too.
Yeah.
Number of pages. So the best persons to give you a response is SI, and we should get that response as soon as next working day. So that's what we'll do on that part. What was your second question again?
Okay, the names, the way it appears on the.
Oh, when they mean the name, what's your name, the way it appears, they don't mean which one comes first before whether your surname or your first name. In SI documents, if they ask you your name, it's likely first names and surname. If they want your surname first, they will ask you your surname first. And they are mentioning that in your passport, if your name is Dennis Paul Dogu, your name in SI have to be Dennis Paul Dogu. If your name is in your passport is Dennis Paul, and then in your application you're putting Dennis James Dogu, then there is a problem.
Okay, thank you very much.
So going back to the motivation letter, we have a sample, a work created by Mr. Tom. And we'll use this work and we'll together check out how to write a motivation letter.
Sorry, because I didn't get what you said about the name, please.
About what? Sorry.
The network, I'm sorry, is not stable. I didn't get what you said about the name. I wanted to ask that same question.
I said that if SI request for your first name and surname, you put your first name. If SI request for your surname first, you put your surname first. In SI document, it's usually
no, they didn't require. They didn't say anything. What they just said was the way it's on the passport, and on the passport, the surname comes first.
SI is not talking about which comes first. That's not what it's referring to. When it says
Okay.
as it is on the passport, is referring to your names. Maybe some of you have married, changed name. Many of you have decided to change them through newspaper publication or something, you know. But ESA is requiring that whatever name you are using for this application, let it be exactly as it is in your passport. So if your name in your passport is Genius, Senior, or Genius, Junior, in ESA application, your name should also be Genius, Junior. If your name is Genius, Junior in a passport, it should not come to application and become Genius, Senior, Genius. So, but first name comes first, or first names. If you have a first name and middle name, the both of them are referred to as first names with S. You can say your name, your other name, and surname. It's just in that tradition. I don't know if you understand.
Okay.
Yes, and now going back to the motivation letter, I said a sample has been donated to us, written by Tom, and it is Tom's work. And now we want to look at this work and see how to write a motivation letter using this work. So Tom, you will give us a little background. So this is Tom's work. You give us a little background, and the little, well, you tried. Your work is actually 1,002 characters, but that's a good one that you try to make it less. But it has to be 1,000 characters, remember. Even these 2 characters is not allowed. So this is, we can see my screen, right?
Yes, you can see us.
Yes.
So Tom, please give us a background. What was your first choice and what is your major experience?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so my first choice is renewable electricity production in Uppsala.
Okay.
And my experience has been in the area of project engineer. Project engineering.
That's a leadership
position, yes.
Okay, so let's now look at this. Choose one of the UN SDGs and describe how your professional position and engagement in a network relate to that goal. So you wrote, problem of affordable energy is a challenge in Nigeria, with 43% of Nigerians still lacking access to on-grid energy as of Q4, fourth quarter 2021. According to World Bank, Nigeria loses 26.2 billion yearly due to lack of reliable electricity to power businesses, hence resulting to unemployment. Interesting. To alleviate this, microgrid installation is a concept I have been working on to mitigate the negative effect of climate change and provide electricity to rural areas. This is in line with Nigeria's stated goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 20% below business as usual by 2030, while increasing its conditional target to 47%, up from 45%. Upon my return, I intend working with Rural Electrification Agency in the power industry to develop energy scenarios in providing solar power in rural areas. The knowledge and experience to be gained on my sojourn to Sweden will greatly prepare me in terms of education, exposure, and cultural experience in closing the gap of clean and affordable energy in my society. This is quite excellent, but it is not excellent for this question. This is excellent for the question of last year. This is excellent for the question of last year, not excellent for this question. Because in this, the question of last year asked you, what problem do you want to solve when you return? And you made a problem statement here. Wonderful. You talked about what you want to do and what you've been doing. And you talked about yes, what you want to do still, but something is also missing here. But that's by the way. So, but we can still use this to recreate a template. But this question, this answers suits the question of last year than this year. Do you guys agree with me?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Very well.
Very well, like that I was thinking.
So to recreate this, to use this same thing now, maybe some of you have written something from last year question, to use it to recreate. What can we take out of this? His language usage is cool. His use of statistics is on point. So many statistics, so many data, like this guy knows what he's talking about. Even if I don't know whether they are right or wrong, but I just believe he knows what he's talking about. That's just on a lighter note. So how can we recreate this? So now let's go back to what I said initially. Choose one SDGs. So we have to choose an SDGs. No SDG was chosen here. So can someone give us an SDG that suits this problem statement?
I think his last statement about an SDG, the last statement in his motivation, even though he didn't explicitly like say it SDG something.
Clean and affordable energy. That's right. So using clean and affordable energy, describe how your professional position or engagement in a network. Now, from what is, for me, this is how I will start. From his story, the story I already have. This is how I will start. I will go to where he said about what he's been working on. He's been working on microgrid installation for this. So I will take up this paragraph, I'll bring it up. Choose one SDGs and describe how your professional experiences relate to the SDG. That's the question. So I can say for the past 5 years, I have been, for the past 5 years, after completing a degree in projects, or this if you want to mention your bachelor's degree, but you don't have to. So you can use your experience for the past 5 years as a project engineer for, please, you must mention the place, for ABC company. I have been working on microgrid installation. To mitigate the negative effect of climate change and provide in rural areas of, you have to mention a community, a place. This, if you make a place that you've been working on, it brings your project alive. So see the way I'm creating this motivation letter. That's also the pattern you have to use. For the past 5 years as a project engineer for ABC company, I've been working on microgrid installation to mitigate negative effect of climate change and provide electricity to rural areas of. There's a rural area I used in some projects recently, Makoko community of Lagos. I was in a project on this community recently. I have been working on microgrid installation to mitigate the negative effect of climate. Lagos. So that's my sentence one. Such a long sentence, but it's okay. Describe how this position relates to the goal for clean energy. Now, this is where this thing fits in perfectly well. So how it relates, that's the second line. This is in line with Nigeria's stated goal of reducing greenhouse emissions by 20% below this is a phrase that is not necessary. Remember, you are fighting with characters. You want to reduce as much as possible. So you remove any character that is not needed, any word that is not impactful to your motivation letter. So this business as usual is not a needed statement. There are so many other ways to say this and reduce the number of characters. So for me, I would say this is in line with Nigeria's stated goal of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 20%. Below the usual, if you have some data to put, but if you don't have any data to put, you remove this entirely. This is in line with Nigeria's stated goal of reducing greenhouse by before 2030, while increasing its conditional targets to 70%, up from 45%. My works, you have to make this statement because that's the question. SDG. Please, clean and affordable energy is SDG what?
7.
SDG 7. My work closely relates to SDG 7, clean and affordable energy. Then this is the point that you can also use this place. You can create a problem that you are solving, a problem statement as part of this. So also remember you are fighting with characters, so you remove unnecessary words. So I will remove problem of and just put affordable energy is a challenge in Nigeria. You have to also use some like I will put only and remove still. And then I will, this should be 57. Do you understand what I did? Did you understand what I did to his work? Can we hear me?
Not really. Yeah, I can hear you. But I just noticed that the characters have passed the number.
Yeah, that one, there are a lot of things we remove. But I'm restructuring his own words, the words he gave from his
what I really want to learn from this is how do you fit in so much within that time frame? I mean, that's one of the reasons I wanted us to do it, because you also want to make sense in as much as you are reducing the work, so it doesn't lose the ingredient of the content of the motivation.
the way to do that is by segmenting your sentences. Every sentence or every paragraph should have a punchline. Each punch is what it will achieve at the end of the day. And that is what we are trying to create. So let me go back. Oh, I can't go back. I wanted to go back and show you what I did. Or let's keep using his language. Affordable energy is a challenge in Nigeria with only, he said, with 43. This is language. I just flipped it the other way around, but we can use this language. Affordable energy is a challenge in Nigeria with 43% of Nigerians still, that's what he wrote, still lacking access to on-grid energy as of Q. Then according to World Bank, Nigeria loses yearly due to lack of, hence resulting, this is a good problem statement. I've already used this. So first paragraph, for the past 5 years as a project engineer for ABC, I've been working on microgrid installation to mitigate negative effects of climate change and blah blah blah. The second paragraph, the first paragraph, you talked about your professional position. That's what he did. In the first paragraph, we've created now, we just spoke about just this. What is your professional engagement or your network or civil society? What do you do? That's what we just created. You can also not use first 5 years. You can also say between 1st June 2000 1st June 2020 to August 2022. I served as a project engineer I'm also restructuring other ways you can do this. Same thing. Mind you, this is what we're working with at the moment. You can also do this way, and you bring this statement up here. There are many ways to write this, actually. What I wrote previously is good to go. This I'm doing right now is also good to go. Between 1st June to August, I served as a project engineer for ABC. My work is closely related to SDG 7. As I have been working on microgrids. There is another way to write that statement. Then you can come here, it says, so everything here stands. So now the part is, how do you conclude? The conclusion for this. We are at 829 characters, and we need to conclude. So I'm actually checking up, reading this to be sure how to conclude in less than 150 characters. Okay. So this is the first draft I've been able to create from this work. And this first draft is 1,074 characters. This is a complete first draft I have created to answer this question. I created this out of Tom's work. But the major thing you should take out is the paragraphs. 3 paragraphs. The first paragraph talking about what your professional position, engagement in a civil society organization is. And also which SDG you've been working on and what you've been working on. So this first paragraph says what, I think I should write it. First paragraph. Remember, this is a first draft and we only need to remove 74 characters. 74 characters is quite a lot. It can actually alter this, but that will take more time to know what to remove. But the major reason for this is to show you how to create it. The first question is, you write about the first thing. Oh, okay, yes. The first thing you write about your professional experience, network or civil society. What SDG, what you have been doing as it relates to the SDGs. SDG. Then the second part is why you have been doing the work you have been doing in your professional or civil society and SDG. And the third part is conclusion. And how you intend to expand your work So this is my own response to filling the motivation letter. So right now I can also take questions. Based on Tom's work, this is my own response to filling the motivation letter. So if you have any question, you can ask.
Okay. Thank you, Genius. Okay, so I have 2 questions actually. Because I see that we've been trying to tie even the professional work to also social impact in society. But what if your job basically does not really have anything to do with the society? You're just majorly focused on minimizing minimizing costs and maximizing profit for your shareholders as a finance person. That's one. Then the second one has to do with when you're, I can see he was using numbers here, something about 26.2 billion. What if the project you're doing, the investment in it's in Naira and not in dollars? Is it advisable to convert to dollars or use euros?
Okay, on the first question, how about your engagement is just for the profit of your CEOs and stakeholders and not the society?
Yes, not the society.
Now, if from what I've explained before in my coaching, you understand that I've always maintained that you tell one story. I believe that in your CV, in your reference letters, in your leadership experience, in your work experience, there is one story that keeps reoccurring. What is that story, and what SDG does that story relate to? Once you know the SDG it relates to, then to answer this question becomes easier. Even if you are making profit for some, let's say there are people who are working in account making profit for just Google. They don't care about, you know, whether Google is making impact the other side of the world or not. But they are making sure that their numbers in the profit margin of, or even banker. There are many people who are working in that, but in many ways it relates to the society. That's what I want to explain. Now, identify the story you want to tell, because out of one job, you can tell many stories. This Tom's experience is in renewable energy, or he intends to do renewable energy. Believe me, he has experience in project engineering. Believe me, there is 1,000 stories that we can tell that is different from this story written here. So there is so many stories. So what story is your CV, your reference letters, your leadership experience already gearing towards? We just need to take up that story and work on the story. So take up that story and recreate this. Fixing dates, fixing timeline. It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be exactly as this example. This is just one out of 1 million examples. So it doesn't have to be this way, but you have to answer this question. What professional experience and civil society are you sharing with us? What SDG does it relate to? And what was the connection between these two, what you've been doing? Then the second part, what you've been doing. How is it, what you've been doing, okay, why were you doing what you've been doing? Let's say you are making money for some dude. Why are you making money for that dude? Is he making impact? Believe me that whatever that company is doing, some way, somehow, is solving one problem for the society. Even if you are in a small, medium business that you have a provision shop where you sell milk, or you sell, these everyday provision services. And you would think, oh, I'm just doing this business for money. It has nothing to do with the society. No, if you look at it from the wider lens and look at the impact of small and medium businesses, you find so many things to write about. This impact you are making in the economy, the impact you are making in job creation, the impact you are making in, so many ways. So you already have a story before now. You don't need to change your story based on this example. Now just take your story, and you even, before this question came out, you already have an idea of the question or the story you were using. Remember, what we converted is an answer that was given for a different question. That's what we just converted. So I believe you also have an answer to the previous question. So let's just also use that story. Don't change your story. And based on numbers, please try to quote something that is close to real. Even if it is not real, let it be close to real or believable. I didn't say anything about dollars because according to World Bank, these things are usually quoted in dollars. But if your figures are quoted in Naira, you don't need to convert to dollars or euros. If you do that, it becomes bad. You even need to quote it in Naira. It makes it very credible. But a World Bank usually quotes any figure in dollars. World Bank would not quote figure likely in Naira. So that's why this sounds okay, accurate, even though I don't know if it's accurate or not. And SI will not start checking the accuracy of these things. I don't think they will have that time. I don't know. I've never reviewed with the committee, but I don't think they have time to convert. But reading it, they'll be like, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. This thing is likely true. But the person you also quoting figure, the person who is looking at this can easily Google this very easily to easily know what bank, how much. If you just ask Google, according to World Bank, how much does Nigeria lose yearly from lack of reliable electricity? Google will pop up something. The person will open up a reliable research and know whether you're right or wrong. So this is like something easily to find out. But like I said, it doesn't need to be exactly like this. You don't have to quote in dollars or euros or anything. You can quote in Naira, you can quote in rupee or any yen or any currency that is close to the reality. It doesn't have to be exactly reality, or and then this is the conclusion. So any other question? Okay, if there's no other question, then we'll go back to general questions. I think we've got this motivation covered. So if there's any other question, the floor is open. I have Mary's hand up.
Yeah. Good evening to you. Yeah. Thank you for the enlightenment. So in general, I want to ask, for Lund Global Scholarship, they sent me a mail for me to apply for the scholarship. And there are some questions they ask, that what is the minimum percentage school fees waiver, tuition waiver do I need for me to start the course? So they gave 25, 50, 7,500. So I don't know whether you found yourself in that situation. I don't know what you should be. Seriously. So I actually want to go for 100, but I don't want to I don't know what to pick. Let me just say that. And again, they now ask, what will you do to sponsor yourself for your other living expenses? So I do not want to go and write something I'm not sure of, or that is workable, or I just don't know what's obtainable in that kind of setting. And they ask, yes, those are the two questions I'm actually having this visit. That what percentage should I pick, and what will I do in Sweden to sponsor my living expenses? Okay, the third one, in my motivation letter, should I write about my financial state, or I should just do it as if I'm writing for an admission motivation letter? Should I make mention of the financial state, or I should just omit that completely? Thank you.
Okay, that's quite an interesting one. My response is this. Every scholarship program have a vision and mission. Do you know the mission and vision of this scholarship? Do you know if this scholarship is for people who need help, financial, who are maybe there's a language they use. So that's the first you need to find out. For example, SI scholarship is not for people who need help. SI scholarship is for people who are smart, excellent, doing well, already succeeding, or have potential for big success. But some other scholarship is for people who need help, who maybe they are the first to go to school in their family, they are the first to go to university. No, there's something it's called. So if you find out the purpose of the scholarship, you simply know the answer to give. Now let's assume that the purpose is for people who need help. Now, be rest assured that it is not a temptation.
Sorry to cut you short. It's actually for people that did excellency, academic excellence, not actually for people that need help.
Exactly. So you know your answer already. So since it is not for people that need help, talking about your financial state, you can talk about your financial state, yes, but don't dwell on it. You can give a sentence showing that you actually need this help, but you don't need to make it a center of your motivation, but you can say something about it. So you should not make it center of your motivation, since the scholarship is not for people who need help. Then on the other part, the question on what percentage you need is not a temptation. Don't feel like it's a temptation. If you want to type 100, if you want to go with 100%, please go with 100%. It's not, they're not trying to tempt you. It's not any temptation. The schools simply have a budget and they want to know how much students they are taking in. If all students say 100%, all applicants say 100%, it won't affect whether they will give it to you or not. It simply means that, okay, they have this amount of money. They already have an amount of money they are going to give. They have this amount of money. Okay, we have qualified applicants seeking for 100%. It is just for their mathematics. That's just it. It's not a temptation to you. So, but if what you need is 50%, cool. You put 50%. If what you need is 25%, you put 25%. But I'm sure it's not a temptation. So any other
All right,
question?
thank you very much.
We have Dare. Dare's hand is up.
So I think there is a particular part they asked that what will you do to sponsor yourself for the living expenses?
So they're asking yourself, what will you do? Is it the same scholarship application?
Yes, in the scholarship on the portal, there is a question there that what will you do in Sweden to sponsor your living expenses if the tuition waiver is being granted?
Okay, tell them you already have a savings. Tell them you have the money to do it. Don't tell them you're going to work in Sweden or something. Tell them back you're already ready. You have the money. You have your personal savings or something, or you have a sponsorship or something like that.
Okay. Thank you. That's what I just want to be sure of, because now I wanted to write that I want to get a student job somewhere. I knew that don't mean that I'm wrong.
Don't write that. You'll be a distracted student, and they don't want a distracted student.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
I'm open for questions for the next oh, sorry, I'm using my time. My time here is about to 2 in the afternoon. So, but I'm here to answer questions for the next 30 minutes.
Okay, so my question, this is Dare talking, is what's your advice? I don't know, maybe because I just joined. Is there a template for what the reference should look like? I don't know if that's been sent. And then my other question now is, for this motivation, is there another way it can be written? Because I thought you already gave us a formula. You broke it down. So is there a category in which it has to flow? Like the first part needs to talk about this, talk about that, so that we can be able to make those 1,000 characters, basically. That's the first question. And the other question is still on the templates that we're supposed to copy. You mentioned something about the CV. So you said we should make sure that whatever is on the CV is also what we put, is also what we tick as well. So in case you make a mistake, like, I don't know, how do we do it in such a way that we don't make a mistake so that it tallies, basically? Yeah. Okay.
First, you need to go through my documents. I have sent out all templates. SI released the template last year, and you have to also look at my coaching, and you have to complete the templates. So once you've completed SI templates, the offline templates first, then you start the online application. So in the online application, you now look at what you've done in your templates, and you just fill it up.
Okay.
And
I was watching one of your videos, right? And one of the videos, I don't know if you're going to do that for us, or maybe that has been done. You said something about a mock, BITL SI mock. Can we still use that link to send stuff, or it's too late?
I'm not personally reviewing applications. The mock is for yourself. It's for you to grade yourself. So the mock doesn't come to me. It's just a submission for you to test how will it be. But right now, you don't need a mock again because the application is open.
Okay.
You don't need any mock. A mock is for review. Do a mock. You don't need to submit. Give it to someone around you for them to review. But right now, you don't need a mock. The real exam is open. So you go to the exam hall. So you don't need a mock anymore. What you need to do is go through my content, go through my videos, ask me questions where you need to ask me, where you need clarification.
What people want you to review now? Is there a reason why you don't review anymore?
Yes, the reason is because of timing. Okay. That's the reason. Well, I'm available to provide any other possible support. There are people who chat me up every day, and I respond every day. Or I try to respond every day. Some people request for calls. I make calls every day. My job is to guide and make sure that you get this opportunity. But for reviewing your document is about you writing, sending to me for me to review, which is very, very time consuming. And because of timing, I'm unable to do it this time. But for this motivation letter, we are going through it. We've gone through it right now. And I've shared what you need to do. All you need to do is to rewatch this. I recorded this session and you can rewatch it. And I'll also WhatsApp you the sample that we created.
Okay.
Also, sorry,
I have a question.
I also have a question about the what's it called? Reference, the template. Like, 'cause someone was talking about they signed his own electronically. I know the instruction says it's stamp. Like, I don't know if you can give more clarity to that part.
There is template for CV, for reference, and for experience proof of leadership and proof of work experience. There are templates already released. And in this template, there are also instructions on how to fill them up, on how to sign, on how to stamp. And I also made videos available to answer for clarity on how to do those things. And this particular person asked a question on using digital signature. And because digital signature is not conventional, even though SI allows digital signature, we have to confirm from SI themselves. And that is why I'm still going to work with this person, contacting SI and making sure that everything is the way it should be. But go through the content and you will get all these questions answered. If you need more clarity, you just chat me up.
Good evening.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, sorry. I'm so sorry. If I've been trying to join the meeting, but because of the network in my area, I've not been able to have access. So until now that I changed location. So I actually have a series of questions. I know I actually missed the session, so probably some of the questions I have might have answers in it. So, but I have, okay, personally, I'm a teacher and I work with state government. So I have an issue with knowing, okay, who exactly is supposed to sign my proof of work, because we are normally, when the government employ you, they deploy you to the school. And there's like in Kaduna State, we have a teachers service board that they are responsible for recruiting teachers. Then they work hand in hand with the ministry. Then we are deployed to the schools, and in the schools we have principals. So I'm very confused as to, okay, who is supposed to sign, if it is a principal, because, okay, I'm putting the person that recruits me as my employer. So are they the ones that, am I to use the stamp of my school or the stamp of the employer in both the reference and the proof of work?
Okay, any of the two stamps that you can get in a snap of a finger, use it. If you can use a stamp from your principal and your principal can sign it, let your principal sign. If you can get the ministry or the secretariat to sign, fine, you can, any of them works.
Okay. Then secondly, I actually have an NGO. It's like a small NGO. I work with them, but my issue is that I'm also a volunteer research assistant in my university. So, which we carried out some research, and I have a professor that I work under him. So we do research once in a while apart from my work. So right now I'm very much confused as to, okay, should I use, because they said, okay, when you use the NGO, it's like you're already a step ahead of others. But the NGO are actually, will I say, their objectives and their mission does not really align much with the with what I applied and my whole story. Let me just put it that way. So I don't know, should I still use the professor for him to stand as referee for me, or like I should still go with the NGO?
Okay. First of all, NGOs doesn't necessarily have to align with your master's program, or you can be some engineer by profession, and your NGO is a blood donation. Your NGO experience is
yes.
blood donation.
Yes.
The NGO or civil society experience is to look at your commitment to contributing to civic engagement, to your
Okay.
contribution to social impacts. They are
Okay.
looking at your leadership. They're not looking at your professional expertise. That's one.
Okay. Okay.
So that means you can actually use your NGO. And also, there's nothing like a small NGO. SI does not know these things. Apart from these NGOs that are so internationally big, you can, in writing, you can make your NGO look so big.
Yes.
So make it look so big. That's option A. Option B is that you can also go to use your lecturer, but in what capacity? Is it a volunteer capacity, or is it you find a capacity that works best?
Okay.
In my own thought, you have two choices, and either choice is
Yes.
good.
Okay. Okay.
Dennis, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my question is on the CV template. Now, do all work experience in the CV template need to be verified? In other words, can one include a work experience that is not in the proof of work and leadership experience template? That's my question.
The answer is yes. To explain further, you only need to prove 3,000 hours. That is what you need to prove. So if one work experience gives you 3,000 hours, you only need one proof of work, even if you have 3 in your CV.
Okay.
I get you.
Yeah, someone asked some questions in the chat. What if you are the owner of your NGO? Can that fly? Yes, it can fly. SI has rules on that, and SI shared the rules on it too. I believe you must have come across the rule. If you own your company or NGO, who can reference you? They'll tell you either a client should reference you or another company you've worked for, you've engaged, should reference you with, they have rules on that if you own your own company or NGO.
Yeah. Hello, good evening, Genius. I want to ask a
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I've been looking at these SDG goals. I don't know. I've been looking at the one that strongly relates to communication or media. I've been trying to study them, and I can't seem to, I don't know, pinpoint the one that closely relates to communication and media.
Okay. If yours fitting in many areas and you can't pinpoint one, then SDG 17, partnership for the goals. You partner with every other goal to make sure that the world is a better place. So if you have so many things you're doing and you can't point one, you go SDG 17. It covers all. But also if you have other specific engagements, then that's the way to find.
Okay, thank you very much.
Another very good way is through targets. If you go to SDG official website, every SDG has its targets and its indicators.
Okay.
So you can look at the target of some SDGs, you think, oh, for example, I also have a background in media communication as well. And but I was working for the project Google Digital Skills for Africa with Google then. And that, because of my engagement with that specific project, I focused on SDG of quality education. That should be SDG 4.
Okay.
Because out of SDG 4, while most part of SDG 4 is talking about primary and secondary education, some part of SDG 4 is talking about vocational education, it's talking about digital skills, it's talking about skills to improve sustainability goals and stuff like that. So I went for that particular target.
Okay, no problem. I'll study it more. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
we have 9 more minutes, so I don't know.
Okay, I want to talk about the hours, the working hours. Okay, I saw on the templates, like if for permanent hours, or let me reframe my question like, are you the one that say the hours you worked for, or they already have the hour? As in, would they say, okay, if you are a permanent staff, you must work for these particular hours, or you yourself, like in Nigeria, we know we can work from 8 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the night. Okay, can you say your own hours, or they have their own specific hours for permanent and for temporary workers? Because I saw a paper they were trying to calculate the hours, and I was thinking that, do they have their own hours for permanent staff and temporary staff, volunteers? So or you are the one that dictates the hours that you use? Are you the one that will tell them, okay, this is the hours I use? Or they, as in, I want you to shed more light on that.
Okay, yes. I know what you're talking about. In Nigeria, some people work like they came to this life to work. Well, but globally, we're in a globalized world. Globally, anywhere in every continent in the world, the standard work hours is 40 hours per week. That is 9 to 5 every day, 5 days a week. But because some people, let's take, for example, Muslims. Some Muslims go on holidays from Friday. There are some countries holidays start on Friday till the next Monday. There are some, it is only Friday. So, give or take, the measure is 40 hours per week. But you can work 45 hours per week. You can work 30 hours per week, 32 hours, but the given, it is not like it's a must that you use 40 hours per week. But please don't go and use 70 hours per week. They will be like, who is this person? Is this person born to work? This person. So you can use maybe 42 hours per week or 45 hours per week to do your calculation. You can use, but don't go and use 60 hours per week or 70 hours per week. It will be like it's on.
Okay, what of in the case of a temporary staff? As in, can you use 40
your
hours?
Your work hours has nothing to do with temporary or permanent staff. It absolutely has nothing to do with that. Your work hours only has to do with full-time staff or part-time staff. It has nothing to do with temporary or permanent.
Full-time or part-time, yes. So your part-time can be 40 hours a week.
It's not possible.
Is that what you're saying?
It's not possible for part-time to be 40 hours per week, because full-time is 40 hours per week. So it's not possible for part-time to be 40 hours since full-time is 40 hours.
Okay.
You can't work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and it's part-time.
Okay, please, I want to ask, like, in terms of the, is it like, do I need to add my secondary education in the CV?
You don't have to, unless you want to.
Okay, then, sorry, like for the presentation you did today, after now, can we get a link so that we can?
There's no link. What I did is online. I did live presentation. So I created an account and I applied in the account, but I didn't submit the application. So, but I have shared the templates with you.
Okay.
The templates that we created. We created a template. We created a sample using what Tom created for last year question or from a different question. We use that same content to create.
Okay.
And I've shared that.
Okay.
Janice, I have one other question.
Go ahead. We have 4 more minutes.
Okay, so it's on the motivation letter you earlier explained. Now, even though they had said you choose one United Nations Sustainable Development Goals to talk about, a situation where the goals you're looking at are closely interwoven. Like, for instance, we are looking at good health and well-being. That's goal 3. Then water, sanitation, and hygiene, goal 6. Usually, there is a way they are so interwoven. Will you advise that I find a way of like bringing them together as I develop my motivation letter? Because what I do is, in line with those 2 interwoven. So thinking of taking one and leaving the other, it becomes a bit dicey for me. So what would you advise?
Well, I'll advise you to follow the instruction, and you can also be smart about it. Choose one. There must be one which you think is the compound SDG, is the mother SDG. There must be one. There's 1% ahead of the other in your contribution in your job. So you choose that one, state that one, because you have to answer the question. The question says choose one SDGs. You don't make them try to find it out. No, don't make them, oh, if they read this, they will know it is SDG 5 or SDG 10. State it, tell them clearly, this is the SDG I'm working. If you look at a sample, I stated the SDG. This is the SDG we're working with. But in your other problem statements, you can mention, you know, you can make a relation, you can create a relationship with another SDG, 3 SDGs, 2 SDGs, 4 SDGs, other SDGs in your explanation. But you have to state one SDG, choose one and state it. I mean, that's instruction.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, hi, Junius.
Yes.
Sorry. Okay, thank you. I just want to reaffirm what you had said in respect to the CV and reference letter. So, for example, if you have on your CV 2 work of experience, and the first one you already have 3,000 hours, and probably the second one you don't have up to 3,000 hours. So, are you saying that for your proof of work, you don't really need proof of work for the second work experience and also a reference letter for the second work experience?
No, you don't need it. You only need to prove 3,000 hours. So once one job proves it, that's all one you need. Then you need a different proof for leadership. Then reference letters has nothing to do with the work hours. Reference letter is another template. You choose from one of your work experiences. It could be the same one you prove, it could be another one. Then you get a reference letter. One must be work experience, the second one might be work experience or something else.
Okay.
Okay, so sorry, in line with this question now, like if your first, for example, the work experience actually align with maybe what you are applying and what you are working on, and that one is not up to 3,000 hours. So can you use the previous one that is not actually related?
Yes.
Okay. So you just need to provide the proof for just the one that is up to 3,000 hours.
Yes, they want this scholarship is for, they called it Swedish Institute Scholarship for Global Professionals. So the proof is to prove that you're a global professional. And according to SCI, to be a global professional, you must have worked for at least 3,000 hours in professional capacity.
Yeah. Okay.
So they just need that proof. It doesn't have to be part of your story. Even if your story is in health and your proof is in engineering, it's fine.
Okay.
Hi, Juniors.
Yeah, hello.
Please, my work doesn't start at 9. No, we start at 8, and it's 9 hours at the end of the day when you calculate it. So it's like 45 hours per week. I hope that wouldn't be seen as extra.
It's extra, but they would see it as extra, but you need to be collecting extra from your company. So you are doing overtime, actually, according to global standard, according to...
We work on Saturdays and Sundays, sir.
You must be so rich.
I wish. This is
overtime. The overtime is well paid. In Sweden, if your job is, let's say, 150 or 200 crowns per hour, that's about, if your job is 20 euros per hour, if you work overtime, you get paid maybe 25 euros per hour. If you work on weekend, you even get paid to like 30 euros per hour. So you must be very rich since you work weekend and you work overtime. So in this note, I want to thank everyone for being part of this session. It's a 2-hour session, and I know you must have more questions. Just drop it in chat. And I really wish you the very best. I really wish you the very best. I'll be in Sweden to receive you by August, hopefully, very hopefully. Right now, I'm not in Sweden, but I'll be in Sweden just to receive you.
See you there.
I wish you the very best. And like I said, if you have any question, any concern, just share with me. I try as much as possible to answer. If I don't have an answer to any question, I don't guess. I tell you the much I know. I don't try to mislead or try to, give you something I'm not sure of. And I'm very positive that it will be a success at the end of the day. And have a wonderful time.